Welcome to Afterlife Adventures. Join me as we investigate the shocking true crime story of the serial killer, Aileen Wuornos. Now, let's get started. Aileen Wuornos was born Aileen Carol Pittman on February 29, 1956 in Rochester, Michigan. Her mother, Diane Wuornos, was 14 when she had Aileen, and she was married to 16-year-old Leo Dale Pittman. Aileen had an older brother named Keith, and before Aileen was born, her parents were divorced. Aileen never met her father because he was incarcerated when she was born for sex crimes against children, and he was also diagnosed with schizophrenia. He later committed suicide by hanging himself in prison in 1969. When Aileen was 4 years old, her mother Diane abandoned her and her brother by leaving them with their grandparents, Lori and Britta Wuornos, who were both alcoholics. They legally adopted Aileen and Keith in the 1960s. By the age of 11, Aileen began engaging in sexual activities in exchange for cigarettes, drugs, and food. She was also engaging in sexual activities with her brother, Keith. Aileen alleged that her grandfather had sexually assaulted her and beat her when she was a child, and when she became pregnant at the age of 14, she claimed that she was raped by an acquaintance of her grandfather. Aileen gave birth to a baby boy at a home for unwed mothers, and her baby was placed for adoption. At the age of 18, Aileen was arrested for DUI charges, disorderly conduct, and firing a .22 caliber pistol from a moving vehicle. She was later charged for failure to appear on the same charges. In the 1970s, Aileen hitchhiked to Florida, where she met 69-year-old yacht club president Louis Gratz Fell. The two married soon after, but Aileen was constantly in trouble at the local bar and was even arrested for assault. She was also abusing her husband, and when she hit him with his own cane, he put a restraining order out against her. Aileen left Florida and went to Michigan, where she once again was arrested for assaulting a bartender by throwing a cue ball at his head. On July 17th, Aileen's brother Keith passed away from esophageal cancer, and Aileen received $10,000 from his life insurance policy. Soon after, Aileen was fined for drunk driving. She paid the fine and afterwards, while intoxicated, bought a new car, which she wrecked soon after. In the 1980s, Aileen was arrested for armed robbery of a convenience store, passing forged checks, and she was a suspect in the theft of a .22 revolver and the ammunition for it in Florida. She went on to be arrested for car theft, resisting arrest, using her aunt's name, and a man accused her of pulling a gun on him and demanding $200 cash from him. Aileen soon after met Tyra Moore, who was a maid at a Daytona Beach lesbian bar. They moved in together, and Aileen supported them by working as a prostitute. She was later once again accused of assaulting a bar patron with a beer bottle, but this time she was not arrested. Later, Aileen and Tyra accused a Daytona Beach bus driver of assault. She claimed the driver pushed her off the bus, and Tyra was a witness to the incident. While Aileen was working as a sex worker, she murdered 7 men in a 12-month period. Her first victim was Richard Charles Mallory, who was 51 years old and was a convicted rapist, and Wuornos claimed he sodomized her, beat her, and then took her to a wooded area to rape her. Richard was found 2 days later in the woods, shot several times, where 2 bullets went through his left lung, causing his death. Her next victim, David Spears, who was declared missing by family, was found naked along U.S. Route 19 in Florida. He had been shot 6 times. Charles Edmund Carskadden, who was 40 and a part-time rodeo worker, was found in Paco County, Florida. He had been shot 9 times with the same .22 caliber weapon as the other victims. His body was found wrapped in an electric blanket and badly decomposed. Witnesses saw Wuornos driving his car, and she was later seen at a pawn shop pawning his gun. Peter Abraham Seams was a 65-year-old retired merchant seaman who left Florida for Arkansas. He went missing, and his car was later found in Orange Springs, Florida. Witnesses later stated they saw Aileen and Tyra abandoning the car, and there was a palm print from Aileen found on the interior door handle. His body was never found. Aileen's next victim was Troy Eugene Burress. He was a 50-year-old sausage salesman from Ocala, Florida. On July 31, 1990, he was reported missing. 4 days later, his body was discovered in a wooded area along State Route 19 in Marion County. He had been shot twice. Charles Richard Dickey Humphreys was a 56-year-old retired Air Force major, former state child abuse investigator, and former chief of police. His body was found fully clothed, and he had been shot 6 times in the head and torso. His car was found in a different county. Aileen's last victim was Walter Gene Antonio. He was a 62-year-old trucker, security guard, and police reservist. On November 19, 1990, his body was found partially nude near a remote logging road in Dixie County. He had been shot 4 times. His car was found a week later in Brevard County. On July 4th in 1990, Wuornos and her girlfriend Moore had been involved in an accident while driving Peter Seams' car, and witnesses saw the 2 women abandon the car, resulting in a police alert to find them. Police also found items belonging to the victims with Aileen's fingerprints on them at local pawn shops. On January in 1991, Wuornos was arrested on a warrant at the Last Resort, a biker bar in Volusia County. They located Moore the next day. She agreed to work with police to get a confession out of Aileen for the murders in exchange for immunity. 3 days later, Aileen confessed to Moore about the murders. She claimed the men had tried to rape her, so she killed them in self-defense. A year later, Wuornos went to trial for the murder of Richard Mallory and was convicted with the help of Moore's testimony. Psychiatrists at the trial testified that Wuornos was mentally unstable and was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and antisocial personality disorder. 4 days later, she was sentenced to death. She pleaded no contest to the murders of Humphreys, Burress, and Spears, saying she wanted to get right with God. She also claimed that Richard Mallory raped her, but the other victims did not. She was given 3 more death sentences. She pled guilty to the murder of Charles Carskadden and received a 5th death sentence. At the trial, the defense did introduce into evidence that Richard Mallory was formerly committed to a maximum security correctional facility where he served 8 years of treatment for rape. The judge refused to allow this into evidence and denied a request for a retrial. Aileen received a 6th death sentence for the murder of Seams, even though his body was never found. Wuornos was incarcerated at the Florida Department of Corrections, BCI, death row for women, then transferred to Florida State Prison for execution. While in prison, Wuornos accused the guards of tainting her food with dirt, saliva, and urine, and she said that she overheard other inmates say they were going to rape her and cause her to commit suicide before her execution. She did several interviews before her execution, and she was quoted as saying, "You sabotaged my ass. Society and the cops and the system." A raped woman got executed and was used for books and movies and shit. Thanks a lot, society, for railroading my ass. Wuornos was executed on October 9th, 2002. She declined her last meal for a cup of coffee. She was the 10th woman in the United States and the second in Florida since 1976 to be executed since the 1976 U.S. Supreme Court decision to restore capital punishment. Thanks for watching part 2 in our series, Women Executed on Death Row. Stay tuned for more episodes coming soon from this series. If you like this video and would like to see more true crime videos, please subscribe, hit the like and notification buttons, and we will see you soon. Thanks for watching.